What's up, guys? Tim Little. Welcome back to Tactical Bassin. Today's video, we are talking everything underspins. Springtime fishing, underspins, the different sizes, the different heads. Let's go. Underspins is a huge category. There's so many different heads on the market, so many different swim baits, soft swim baits for them. So today's video, we're talking springtime fishing, the different baits that I recommend based on their actions. Maybe some of you guys have never thought of that, but these swim baits have different actions, different tail kicks, and some different heads. So we're gonna cover all of that because right now, as the water temps warm up, the lake is getting active, and those bass start feeding on bait. Bait fish, they're chasing bait. If they're chasing bait, an underspin is one of the top best baits you could be throwing. So today, I want to do a sit down, kind of just go over the different baits that I have a ton of confidence in, the different sizes. You know, your 2.8s, little itty bitty guys, all the way up to your 4.8s and your bigger heads. So an underspin, why does it work? Why does a metal head with a blade flashing on it below a swim bait work? I don't know. But what I can tell you is if you are on a fishery and your fish are actively chasing, targeting bait fish, there's not really a better bait to be throwing than an underspin. If you're throwing just your traditional swim bait, got one right here, just your traditional swim bait, you will catch fish, but you will catch a lot more fish when you put that little blade down below. Now, my thought process on that, when you throw that swim bait out there, you're competing with all the other real life hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of real life bait fish out there in that school. When you put that blade on it, now you're adding that flash, that extra vibration. It makes your bait stand out from that entire bait ball, and that's how those fish really key in and get your bait. So that's my thought process on it. You know, you can catch them on just a swim bait head with your traditional 4.8 or whatever soft swim bait you may like. But if you add a little flash, a little vibration, it goes a long way, and it can turn a great day into an epic day. So I have 6 different rods over here rigged up, and more importantly, I have 6 different baits rigged up. So I'm going to kind of go through my confidence baits, the different heads that I have them rigged on, and why. And most importantly, we're going to talk about this little guy right here, the tail action. You know, I've never seen anybody really talk about this. You know, Matt and I, we've discussed it in depth a few different times, but I don't think that we've actually ever talked about it. You know, there's a lot to be said for going out and throwing an underspin on a Keitech swim bait. There's a lot more to be said to going out and throwing it on a swim bait that has a more frantic style kick. You know, especially right now when you're trying to really, especially those fish that are blowing up, they're actively chasing bait. If you can throw a swim bait that doesn't have a lazy kick but has more of a frantic kick, you can get it going a little bit more quickly, looks like a fleeing bait fish, you will catch way more fish. So we're going to talk about that. Got some different baits for you, some different, I wish you guys could see this. I have, actually you probably can. Let's see. Got all this stuff just laid out for you guys. So we're going to go through it, and you know, down below in the video description, I'll link all the different heads, the different swim baits, colors, and then you guys can kind of pick and choose what really fits your fishing style and your fishery. So let's start off with the bigger baits, and then we'll work our way into the smaller, you know, 3-inch easy shiners, 2.8 swing impact fats. We'll talk about the finesse baits after, but let's talk about the bigger swim baits first. Real quick, when you're trying to figure out, do I want to be throwing a 4.8 or a 2.8? Typically, I like to start with the bigger swim bait. Reason being, I don't want to limit myself. Yes, you can take a 2.8 swing impact fat, put on a little guppy head, a little Cool Baits underspin, and catch fish in practically any body of water throughout the country. but you might be missing something. You know, you might be catching smaller fish, you might be catching less fish if you're not throwing the right size swim bait. So how do I kind of know which swim bait to be throwing? Like I said, I start off with either the 3.8, the 4.3, the 4.8, one of the three larger sizes, and then I just go for it. And I'm paying attention to the bait flickering on the surface. If I can see in the water and see the size bait, that'll give me a great idea of the size I need to mimic. Or if I'm catching fish, a lot of times they'll spit up bait in your live well or on your deck, and you can actually see as well. So typically, I start off a little bit larger, and if I'm not getting bit and it should be working, then I'll go down a little bit, kind of work my way through the system. So now that we've covered that, let's start off with the bigger swim baits. This guy right here, 4.8 swing impact fat, paired up. That is the Blade Runner Spin Tricks. And just like I said before, I'll link all this stuff down below in the video description. Typically this time of the year, we have muddier water. Typically I am going with baitfish patterns, with shad patterns. I just went and paired this one up so you guys could really see the head, see everything. That's just that brighter color. Again, when you add that flash, you add that vibration, you're just letting that fish, hey, I'm here, I look different, I sound different, I feel different than the other fish, the little bait fish, shad, and it's really gonna let that, let those fish key in on your bait. So that's a 4.8. You can see right here, I'm gonna show you these two, because these are my 1s and 2s. If I am not fishing around grass or through grass or around stuff that I can get hung up on, 100% of the time I'm going with an exposed hook. You just get more hook penetration. Those fish eat it, they suck it in and turn. You haven't felt the bite yet, they're gonna hook themselves. But again, that is that Spin Tricks, that Blade Runner. You can see how it pairs up. It's really a tall, narrow, slender head. Just really tracks good, has that real tight kind of shimmy to it. But that's the exposed hook. And then if I'm fishing in grass, through stuff, around stuff, that's when I go with the weedless flashy swimmer. Now you guys have heard us talk about this bait for years. Again, it's weedless, got that hook point kind of hidden into the bait. Now I can fish it right on shoreline, right in the laydowns, right around dock pilings, around grass. So if I'm fishing open water, 100% of the time I'm going with that Spin Tricks. But everything else, man, that flashy swimmer, this is actually, I believe this is a 5/0. That's a 5/0 flashy swimmer. Again, I'll link everything down below in the video description. That's a 5/0 1/4 ounce. But that thing is weedless. But now I can take that swim bait and add that flash through all of the cover. So if I'm fishing through grass, this thing it's just a weedless fish catching machine. So those two, 1 and 2, boom, boom, done. That's what I am starting off with. Again, I went with that chartreuse one. That works great for actually really clear water and smallmouth. But again, I just put that on there so you could really see that bait. Again, that's that 4.8 Keitech paired up with that larger Spin Tricks. So 1 and 2, boom, boom, really easy. Am I fishing open water or if I'm fishing around stuff? Those two right there. You guys can see, here's my Underspin box. Here's my flashy swimmer box. I even think it says flashy swimmer, yeah, flashy swimmer. Have all the different sizes and weights labeled right there. That's it. That's my Underspin setup. That's all my hooks right there. Now, thing with the Keitech, should have explained this with these two rods. The Keitech, most people are throwing the Keitech. It works. It flat out catches them. Smells like squid. It has like a real kind of lazy kick, kind of a real wide, aggressive kick. So if you're fishing open water, you're fishing, you're just reeling this thing along and that thing's just kicking. It looks more like a lackadaisical bait fish, if you will. They work. But again, a lot of people are throwing them. I really started experimenting with different paddle tail swim baits. Probably a year or two ago, we did an underwater video and it just showed all the different tail actions, the movements and stuff. They weren't on Underspins, but they were on Swimbait heads. Maybe I'll link that video down below in the video description so you can watch the underwater footage yourself. But it just showed Matt and I, there is some big differences in swim baits depending on what they're made of, the water temps, just the different kicks. And like I said, I don't know that anybody's ever done a video on the kicks, you know, how the swimming action of these different little paddle tail swim baits. But today we're going to talk about it. My absolute favorite from that video that I just referenced, you know, we saw the light, and it's quickly become one of, if not our favorites. It's going to be this guy right here. This is the Largo shad. You can see that is that's the little 3.0 size. It comes in a 3.0 and a 4.0. You can see, let me hold it up compared to a this is going to be a 3.3 Keitech. I'll show you this guy right here. It's just a taller profile. So same overall length, fairly close. But as you can see, it has more of a fatter, taller belly. It has more of a shad profile, a baitfish profile, especially if you're getting into those fish that are chasing baby crappie and bluegill. You know, I got out of school on those last year, man. They were just obliterating little tiny bluegill, little tiny bluegill up shallow, and those fish are real tall. They're almost like a circle. So this thing, what sets this bait aside, what makes it stand out, in my opinion, why I have all the confidence in the world, is how tight of a kick it has. Try and explain this. I'll show you. Hopefully, I'll show you some underwater. It has a real tight, erratic, frantic kick to it. So if I am fishing around fish that are actively chasing bait, I want my bait to look. I want my underspin to look like a fleeing, frantic bait fish. And from what I've seen, this Largo shad, this 3.0, looks the best. Again, that Keitech works. It just has a slower, wider kick. It looks like it's just a stupid bait fish, whereas this looks like a frantic bait fish. So hopefully that makes sense. Again, that real tight kick. You know, we talk about it in crankbaits, square bills, deep diving crankbaits. We talk about the shimmy, right? The shake, how wide of a wobble it has. Same type of thing with this guy right here, or with all these guys right here. It has that frantic, real tight baitfish kick. The other scenario where these outfish a Keitech is going to be in colder water. You know, you don't want a real big, wide, thumping kick in colder water. Just like the crankbaits we've talked about, you want that. You want to match everything, all the activity that's going on in that colder water. As the water temps warm, we're coming off of winter, right? As they warm, some fisheries are still cold. You don't want a real wide, real heavy kicking swim bait if everything around it is just kind of slow and methodical, right? You want something kind of tighter. The slower you reel this thing, it's not going to kick very hard, just a real tight action. So that Largo shad, specifically that 3.0 size, is money. Works great on the flashy swimmer as well. So that's going to be, I'm going to go here. These are going to be my 1, 2, 3 punches. Again, open water. The other thing I should talk about with this guy, sorry, I'm kind of thinking about things as I'm showing you, that Blade Runner has a lot bigger, more stout of a hook. So if you're fishing an area that has larger fish, or you're fishing for larger fish, that hook is a lot heavier wire and a lot bigger than some of these other hooks. So pay attention to that. You don't want to you don't want to be outgunned and throw a light wire hook if you're fishing around big fish. If you're fishing with those little smaller finesse baits, you kind of have to go with that, but we got some answers with that as well. So that's going to be number 1, open water. Number 1, if I'm fishing around or through stuff, is going to be the flashy swimmer, either the 4.8 or the 4.3, and then my finesse kind of frantic bait fish. If I'm fishing for active feeding fish, they're blowing up around me, I can see them on side imaging, chasing bait balls, whatever, that is gonna be my number one. So those three are my top number ones, if that makes sense. Okay, let's talk finesse, and then we'll talk about some of these other baits in here. I just wanna kinda go over them, show you the size comparisons, and then we'll talk about some other recommendations. But finesse guys, for the reason that I just explained on that Largo shad, I absolutely love this combination for my finesse swim bait. Again, that's that Cool Baits Underspin, either 1/8 ounce, I'll link everything down below in the video description, but 1/8 ounce. Once you get up into a 1/4 ounce, I believe, it goes up to a 3/0 hook. So it actually goes to a larger hook, which is what I have on that Largo right there. But this little 1/8 ounce head paired up with the 3-inch Easy Shiner is money. It has, the Easy Shiner has a completely different action. Get all tangled up here. Than this guy right here. And this is the one that's probably, I mean, this is the staple in everybody's arsenal, the 2.8. You can see it's just a completely different profile. That Easy Shiner is a lot narrower. Look at the tail. That's a 2.8 in on your left, I guess my left also, and that is a 3-inch Easy Shiner on my right. Look how narrow the body is, slender, and look at the tail. A lot more finessey, if you will. You know, if you're in that same scenario, a little bit colder water, or you're fishing for bass that are chasing those fleeing bait fish, that Easy Shiner is money. Completely different action than the 2.8. So, this little guy right here, that's the 3-inch. Let me show you the 4-inch. Do I have one out? Let me pull one out for you. Again, we're covering a lot of different baits, a lot of different sizes, but it's all really important because they have completely different actions. So this is, I'll show you this because I know it's hard when you're online shopping or you know, just trying to guess the size. In my right hand, this guy right here, this is the 4-inch Easy Shiner, and in my left rigged right here, that is the 3-inch Easy Shiner. So you can see quite a bit different. But again, you're getting that same action. So if you're wanting to fish with a little bit larger gear, you can jump your stuff up to a little bit larger head, maybe that 3/8 ounce or 1/4 ounce or 1/2 ounce, whatever. But now you can go with that 4-inch, and this will outfish in those same conditions, will outfish the Swing Impact Fat. Just a completely different action. You know, seems like every fish in the world has seen some kind of Keitech, probably the Swing Impact Fat. If you start playing around, fishing the same areas and throwing a little bit different action of a swim bait, still a Keitech, same great smell, same great whatever, softness of bait, just a little bit different tail kick, a little different shimmy in the water, you will catch more fish. Okay, so we talked about the Swing Impact Fat. That's the dead horse. We don't need to beat that because everybody throws this guy right here. You know, like I said, you could rig this bait up on that 1/8 ounce Cool Baits head, go to probably any lake in the country and have success with that bait right there. You want to change it up a little bit, go with that Easy Shiner. That thing is money. Just like that Largo shad, just that different action. So, couple other things that you can do. I want to show you some other baits that I got. Another bait that works really, really well in that real tight shimmy is going to be the Damiki Armor Shad. It comes in paddle tails and it comes in a little fork tail. Make sure you get the paddle tail. But that's a little 3-inch rigged on a 1/0 flashy swimmer. Texas rigged. That bait has a lot of the same action as the Easy Shiner, the Keitech. So that guy right there. What else do I want to show you? Last but not least, I want to talk about this guy right here. This is the Okashira head. Now, it's not a true underspin, but I have it in my Underspin box because I've had a lot of success, especially in cold water. You know, and if I'm slowing down now, if I'm fishing for fish that are active, right? You can see them blowing up. You can see the bait fish skipping, jumping out of the water. Go with the other stuff. But if it's colder, clearer water, I need light line, I need to finesse them. That little Okashira head paired up with that. This is the 3-inch spark shad. This thing is a straight up fish catcher. Doesn't matter if you're fishing for smallmouth, spotted bass, or largemouth. That guy right there. You know, you'll look at this blade right here. We've talked about it for years. It's actually lopsided, so it adds a little bit of wobble, a little bit of shimmy to that bait, a little bit of a roll. But that is the only other bait. If it's super cold, clear conditions, real finessey conditions, that's when I go away from the larger or more frantic stuff and I drop down to that 3-inch spark shad with the Okashira head. So I want to show you guys, I'm gonna overlay. I did a 4.8, a 4.3, a 3.8, a 3.3, and a 2.8. I believe that's 5 sizes of Keitechs. I'm gonna overlay a picture right here so you guys can get a visual of the different sizes. Hopefully that will help. But guys, an underspin right now, as these fish are transitioning from winter into spawn, that pre-spawn transition, we talked about the movements they're gonna be making. We talked about where they're gonna go along the transition, along the way. If you can find bait, an underspin will outfish a traditional swim bait a lot of the time, especially if they're actively feeding on it. If they're actively feeding on the bait, 100% of the time you'll catch more fish because your bait stands out from the crowd. If you guys have any questions, please leave them down below in the comment section. I will try to get to those as soon as possible. Really excited, guys. Springtime. We're doing something new. Next week, we're gonna kick off our first annual spring gear buyer's guide series for you guys. You guys have been asking a ton of questions and we've addressed it in other videos, but we can't physically, there's not enough hours in the day to answer every comment we get on all the different platforms. So what we did, we took a bunch of the comments and we made a week's worth of buyer's guides. I think it's 6 videos. Yes, 6 videos we're gonna shoot on just different stuff, you know, different baits for spring, hard baits, soft baits, apparel, clothing, boat accessories, all sorts of stuff. So we got a new buyer's guide series for you. You guys love it in the winter time, right before the holidays, you know, but now we're actually using the stuff. It's warm out. I'm in shorts and flip-flops and a sun shirt. It is time to get out on the water and go fishing. So we're gonna do that spring buyer's guide to help kind of pick great stuff out that we have a ton of confidence in, that is in stock, that you can get right now. You know, who knows where we're headed as far as inventory and, you know, issues. It seems like the last couple of years it's just been hit or miss with inventory. So you can get ahead on this stuff, maybe some possible sales. But again, hopefully the whole point of it is to answer the majority of your questions in videos, in a series. We're gonna answer all of that stuff in this buyer's guide series. So we're really excited. Hopefully you guys will check that out. But down below in the video description, I'll link all these different products, the different swim baits, how they're paired up, the different hooks, and some colors that I recommend. But as always, guys, thanks for watching. Like I said, hit that thumb button, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you guys on the next video.